right, and welcome Lonnie as well to your yoga chill practice on this Tuesday evening, whether you're doing this class live or as a recording. It's lovely to have you on the West Coast here in beautiful sunshine, Surya weather. So in yoga, the word Surya means sun. So when we say Surya Namaskar, it's a sun salutation. And we're not doing sun salutations tonight. And we're not going to do what they call Surya Vedana, which is a breath work to increase heat. Instead, tonight I thought with the full moon that is coming, rising, we'll head into a starting Chandra Vedana, Chandra meaning moon. And we'll do a breath cycling for about 2 minutes before we start. And that will help cool the system. So whether you have a physical heat in your body that needs to cool, or maybe there's a mental heat, a fiery thought or idea that needs to settle, this is a really great technique to use when we need to bring ourselves to a state of release. And then I thought with that full moon rising, we'll also bring in a few moon salutations to start. So Chandra Namaskar. And then we'll get into some deeper hip openers as requested, and we'll get into some chest opening as well. Yeah, we'll see where we end up from there. So we'll take a card here for those that like the offering that the card brings us, a few words of intention or dedication. And this card is bringing us the albatross. Albatross, such an amazing animal, bird. Brings faith, endurance, journey, and hope. I think this is very fitting right now with the full moon this month. If you weren't aware, there's actually 2 full moons within this month. The first, which is on Thursday, will be a full moon in Aries. And then the last moon, which is actually on the 31st, will be a full moon in Taurus. So there are a lot of clearings happening at this stage. And they say with 2 full moons in 1 month, it's a culmination of energy. And right now there's a lot of energy that's pushing into one another. So we're finding ourselves in conflict. And that's why I say the heat rises within us. Our temper can get lifted up. Our temper can get a little out of sorts. So we might get short with our conversations or how we react. And so this practice will be about calming or chilling that aspect within us. So just sit tall for a moment. With Chandra Vedana, it's much like Nadi Shodhana, just to give you an example, but we're not alternating. The Chandra Vedana will be a closing of the right, an inhale through the left, a closing of the left, exhaling through the right. So we're only traveling one side to the other. Inhale left, exhale right. Inhale left, exhale right. That's how we'll start, but close your eyes, setting your intention, just settling into your body. Taking this opportunity wherever you are in your space to just recognize any sounds far from you. When we can recognize the sound and place it, perhaps like an idea of placing it on the shelf for later, you know what it is, it's out there, and then we start to move more closely to us. Recognize the sounds more closely to you. Perhaps someone in another room, someone outside your window. There's other sounds happening in your space, perhaps from appliances or your furnace, things like that. And then get a little closer and recognize the sounds within you. These ones can be a little more intricate to find. Your heartbeat, your breath opening and closing. Without forcing the breath, you're simply watching it. With that reflection, Perhaps setting your intention here with Albatross's message of faith, hope, journey, and endurance. This card speaks to me to the endurance that we've been continuing through these months of change and shift, and that our only constant is change. And as we carry on this journey, we have within us the strength, the stamina, the peace, the love, the hope, and the faith to carry forward in the direction of our choice. As you float your hands to your heart and set your intention clearly, use this word throughout tonight's practice as a way to bring you back to this energy of grounding, centering. Take another breath in. Bow your head to your heart. As you release your hands to your lap, keep the eyes closed, lift the chin back to neutral. Take your right hand and fold your first two fingers, closing the right nostril with your right thumb. Just for 2 minutes, we'll do our Chandra Vedana, and inhale through the left. Close the left, open the right, breathe out. Inhale left. Pause, hold, close the left, open the right, breathe out. Close the right, open the left, breathe in. Close, open, breathe out. Just carry on at your own pace, your own rhythm. Lengthening the inhale and equally lengthening your exhale. These breath practices are said to pierce the ideas within, to get past what we're holding as a mask or an illusion. Perhaps noticing the cooling effects as you breathe in through the left, out through the right. And one more in through the left, out through the right. As you release your hand back to your lap, keeping the eyes closed, you may notice that the cycle of breath may continue to breathe in through the left and out through the right, without your hand needing to seal or close one side versus the other. Notice the heads of the arm bones drop away from the ears. Feel a gentle lift in the center of your sternum, your heart center. I would encourage you through tonight's practice, as often I do, to keep the eyes closed, or as closed as you can throughout. And gradually make your way into a child's pose from here. So at the back of your mat, your big toes will touch. Your knees will widen about the rib distance, and your hips will glide back towards your heels. Now, if you're limited in that mobility in the knees at all, just keep the hips more forward, stretch the arms out in front, and let the head fall heavy. In times of full moons, we're releasing old ways of being, old patterns, old systems. We're setting intentions and goals and visions into our future self. Just like the sun reflects off the moon, we're perhaps seeing the darkness we hadn't noticed before and shining a light there to give it space to shift or change if we choose to. Gradually, you'll lift up onto hands and knees. Bring the knees under the hips and the feet about knee distance, and find your way into a cat-cow, drawing the chest forward, the shoulders back, let the belly draw down, the eyes forward, but rather than looking up, just look over the point of your nose, and then exhale, curl it out. Again, you can keep the eyes closed, but think of the eyes gazing over the point of the nose even if the lids are closed. Inhale to pull forward and up. Exhale to curl it out. Follow the wave of breath deeply in, stretching the lungs, and deeply out, strengthening the diaphragm, the low belly. One more here. Back to a tabletop position. Tuck the toes under. Sit back into your heels again, more like puppy dog position now. And then you'll walk your hands in front of the knees and lift the heart up like seated dog. Roll the shoulders back. Pull the chin in and pull your ribs back. So you're rounding here now in a seated position. So that cat spine where you exist, might be stretching the feet, the toes. Pull forward on the inhale, again looking over the point of the nose, shoulders back, bend the elbows a little, and then exhale, round it out. Feeling that suppleness through the spine. If you've been sitting a lot of your day, this can feel really good just to find that expression front to back. Do one more here. And then lift your hips so your feet go flat. At the back edge of your mat, let your head dangle here for a moment like a fresh piece of fruit hanging from a tree, allowing it to almost fall to the earth. I'm going to nod yes and a shake no. Your fingertips here to support if the eyes are closed especially, so you don't feel like you'll roll forward. Shift the weight into your toes and back into your heels until you find equal pressure. Push the heels apart, soften through the knees, and let your breath flow. And we'll lift halfway on the inhale, hands to shins, lengthen crown of the head forward. And then as you exhale, fold inward. Just do 3 waves like this. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, empty it fully. Lift halfway. Empty fully. Press to rise, come all the way up. Arms forward if you're short of space, or arms wide if you got it. And then hands to heart center, exhale fully. Set the gaze steady, release the arms. Sweep up on your inhale, stretch up and look up. Bow forward, hips back, heart forward. Halfway lift, breathe in. Fingertips tap ahead of the toes until the knees come down behind your fingertips. Stand up onto the knees to reach up. Hands through heart center, exhale. Bring the hands forward, perhaps walk them a little further so you're in a modified plank. Take a breath in. Try to lower the chin and the chest on the exhale. And then on your inhale, slither forward into a cobra. Point the toes, lift the knees, lift the heart. Release down, exhale. Tuck the toes, up and back to puppy dog. And then lift into downward dog. Lift the heels high on your inhale. Lower the knees as you breathe out. Pull the hands back, stand tall onto the knees, reach the arms up and overhead. Hands through heart center and fingertips just ahead or beside your knees to lift your hips to the sky, forward fold. Lift halfway, breathe in. Fold it all out. Reverse swan dive, reach up. And fold through. And go right back through this moon salutation. Lift halfway. Fingertips forward, knees come down, exhale, take your time. Yielding all the way up, inhale. Hands through center, exhale. Hips back, hands walk forward, take a breath. Lower the chin and the chest, let them meet the floor. Then release your hips, point your toes, lift to cobra, inhale. Releasing, exhale. Tuck the toes. Up and back, puppy dog. Rest the forehead to the end of your exhale. Then inhale to lift into down dog. And lower the heels as you fully exhale, drop your head. Lift the heels on the inhale. Lower the knees as you exhale. Pull the hands back. Sweep up and open. Hands through heart center. Fingertips to assist, lift the hips, and forward fold. Halfway lift, lots of space. Bow everything out. Sweep wide, come all the way up. Reconnect to the intention you set. Bring it into your hands at heart center. Release the arms. Hold the intention as you inhale. Bow forward as you exhale. Lift halfway. Lower the knees. Perhaps it was faith. You set your intention on reach up with faith. Hands through heart center. Hands walk forward. Take a breath in. Lower the chin and chest. Slither through, breathe in. Releasing out. Tuck the toes, up and back, puppy dog. Let the head rest, full exhalation. Lift the hips, downward dog, sink the heels. Drop the head. Lift the heels high on the in-breath. Lower the knees on the out-breath. Pull the hands back, reach up. Hands through heart center, fingertips ahead of your knees or to the sides. Lift up, feet flat, forward fold. Halfway lift. Bow it out. Press to rise, come all the way up. Forward fold through, last one. Halfway lift. Lower the knees. Stretch up. Hands through center. Hands walk forward, breath in. Chin and chest, breathe out. Inhale, slither through. Exhale, release. Tuck the toes, press up and back, puppy dog. Lift into down dog. Heels rise, knees come down to land soft. Pull the hands back, reach up. Hands through center. Fingertips tap. Feet flat, lift, or forward fold, sorry. Lift halfway as you breathe in. Bow it out one last time. Reverse your dive, come all the way up. Hands to heart center. Eyes to close. Take a moment to feel grounded through the big toe of both feet, center of your heel, the pinky toe. Feel the weight shift, perhaps in your hips, front to back. Find your center point. You can blink the eyes to open. Shift your weight onto your left foot. And just pick up your right knee in front. We'll just take a couple simple circles. Right knee out wide, so counterclockwise, opening. Releasing, you can drag the toes and back up. If it feels best to have your hands on your hips, you can do that. We just want to bring a little bit of fluid into this hip joint and work the stability of the standing leg. Think of your ankle being under your knee rather than under your hip. One more. Then pause, press through both feet. Shift the weight onto your right foot. Left knee comes up and forward. Take it wide, flexion in the foot or pointing the toes, something to give the foot action so the whole leg feels lighter. Now we're going counterclockwise, so we're going up and open. I guess maybe we were going clockwise the other way. All good. As long as you're making a circle here, we're going to do the reverse circle on the other side in a second. Up and open. Drag the toes or hover them just off the floor. One more. Release your foot. Shift back onto the left foot. Right knee comes up. And this time we're going to bring the foot back, swing the knee out, and come forward. Try to keep the foot in line with the knee so that it's not the driver here, but the knee is the driver. And one more. Big breath. Other side. Bring the knee back. And like you're closing the gate forward. Take it out and up. The wobbles and the shakes happen. Those are part of the proprioceptors turning on, turning off. And they say now it's basically our seventh sense. We have our sixth sense, all of our senses, but the proprioceptors is just managing where our body is in space and turning those senses on. Back through center, anchor through both feet, sweep up tall, soften through the knees and just fold all the way down. Lift halfway, fingertips come forward, lower onto the knees, walk the hands forward, take a full breath in, lowering down slowly, point the toes at the base, and bring your forearms onto the floor. Claw the mat or just off the mat with your fingers and lift your heart up and forward. When you're lifted, maybe untuck the ribs here. So you're in your call on what I call the rib nuggets, the lower ribs. Take a full breath here. Lengthen the toes. Press down through your pinky toenail. Look over the point of your nose and pull your jaw back. So the crown of your head reaches further forward. Creating a nice stretch for the mid-lower back. 3 more breaths. Then releasing on your third. Hands come forward. And you can raise your chin or your forehead. It's forehead. It allows the neck to stay long. You can bend your right knee. Lift your right knee up off the floor. You can take your right hand out to the side. And then kick your right foot back and up. And a subtle roll. Now we're not quite touching the floor here, but a bit of a scorpion tail, just to warm up that front body and back body. Going full roll here, we're just working a little space as we come back through center. Release the knee, release the leg. Switch the hands. Bend your left knee, take a breath. Lift the knee up. Start to take the foot behind you. Left hand can come out to the side to kickstand or support. Elbow to the sky. Your left shoulder's rolling back subtly. You might feel the momentum of your leg wanting to let your whole body roll. Just dance there for a moment in the hover. And then come back to center. Let's do one more on each side. Bend the right knee. Lift the right knee. Rotate open. You can keep the hands here under the forehead or bring that hand around, kickstand. Come back around through center. Swap the hands. Bend the left knee. Lift the knee. Kick the foot up and back. Hand out to the side if you'd like. Otherwise, hands can stay stacked. And you're simply working some of the strength of your back body and opening up of the front body. Come back to center. Release that left leg. And this time we'll take the right to the side. Now if your knees are sensitive, you can shimmy a little to the left or place a towel or a blanket under your knee. Let your knee be as high as your hips. We're in a half frog position. Now you can turn your left cheek, or if you want a little bit of neck rotation, you can turn your right cheek and take your arms out like little cactus arms to the left and to the right side. Flex your right foot and think about your right thigh turning down towards the floor to pick up your right foot. Then lower it back down. Inwardly rotating your right thigh so the right foot elevates at any height and then back down. For some, this will be more challenging than others. You might hover a few inches. For others, a few centimeters. Use the breath to lift. And steady exhale, lower. And giving some activation to that leg, but also the opening of the inner groin. Two more. And the last one, pause here and just let the leg relax in this position. Notice if you're holding your teeth, your jawline, or your shoulders even. You widen the forearms away from center. Let your heart melt towards the earth. You'll turn your chin to center wherever you place it, and then bring your right leg straight back. Shimmy your hips a little left and right. Perhaps shifting over to the right side of your mat. Pull your left knee up as high as your hips. So make sure the knee is not falling back behind. It might cause the hip to poke up, and that's okay. We're gradually working it wider to the left side. Your forearms can come out to the left and to the right. And again, your chin or forehead, looking either left hand or looking to right hand. Flexion in your left foot. Inwardly rotate the left thigh. And back down. Inwardly rotate. Back down. Smooth with the breath. See if you can start to fine-tune that movement as you gain strength, is lifting the foot and exhaling it back down. So it's the subtlety of control and ultimately balanced action to lift and lower with strength and ease. Two more. And the last one, let your whole body rest here for a moment. Sometimes just attempting to lift that left foot adds tension in our neck or shoulders or even our hands. Relax your chest here, your arms wider. As you bring your chin back to center, slide your left leg straight back, finding the middle of your mat. Big toes touch, press up to hands and knees, and just slide back into a child's pose. Rest your forehead here, let your forearms relax. And when the forehead rests on the earth, let it release the tension of the neck by just simply rolling the forehead from left to right. The frontal lobe of the brain giving that massaging effect, increasing the blood flow into the front of the head, allowing us to think more clearly. And we'll gradually ripple up. Bring both legs around in front to start this next one. We're going to go into deer pose. And we'll start with the right side. So you'll bring your right foot across and your left foot back behind. So in a similar fashion to having that half frog with the left leg, so the other side here, the femur and the knee are at the same height and your shin is along that long edge. Your upper thigh is along the long edge and your shin matches the top edge. Now we'll start by leaning out to the side. And we lean out to the side, so from the front. If we lean out to the side, we want to pick up our ribs so that we're getting long on both sides. And you might feel that more in the inner groin, the inner leg. And if you want to walk that knee further out, you're welcome to. We'll lean forward subtly, and we'll do a similar action we just did on the floor with that half frog. This flexion in the back foot, and see if you can pick up the foot. It may or may not come up easily. So you lift it, and it feels like you're spinning this leg forward. Feel the glute activate. And just do 3 or 4, really simple. Adding a little activation before releasing just allows that release to go that much deeper. When we pause there, relax that back leg. Take a moment to flex the front foot and hinge forward, navel over the right thigh. Now you might come down onto a cushion. You might come forearms right down to the floor. And then you're attempting to move your rib cage towards the left, or the bottom of the right foot, towards the left side of your mat. You might walk your elbows over We don't want to contort or turn in that direction, but stay as straight with the spine as you can, even if you're on hands, sort of walking across at any degree here. Eyes closed, steady inhale, steady exhale. Notice if you're gripping at all into that left hip. It's really common to grip here, the inner leg, the outer hip. Not too many more breaths here, 2, 3 more. It's a great option if ever your knees are feeling sensitive and half pigeon isn't an option. This is a great alternative. As you walk back up through center, I'm just going to rotate some facing the same direction as you on the long edge of the mat. Because to switch here, we're going to keep our heels where they are. Spin your left palm around behind you so you're opening to your legs. Pivot on your heels. And you'll find your heels anchor, and then your knees come across to the other side. When you come to the other side, the same rules apply. So outer thigh, if you need to shimmy a little, you're welcome to. Front of the shin, back edge of the mat. Lean out to the left, pull the ribs up, and then start to work slightly forward so you're on your palms. One hand to the side, one hand in front. Flex your right foot and inwardly rotate. Pick up the foot, hold and release. Think of the hold through the breath, so your inhale lifts the foot, and your exhale steadily lowers it. Just 3 or 4 activations, maybe walking the knee a little wider to the right. And as you relax that foot back down, bring both hands closer to the front of the shins, so the left shin in front of you. Lift your heart, walk the hands forward. You might stay on palms. You might come to forearms just ahead of your shin. Whichever you're working with, you're working your ribs over towards the bottom of your left foot. Stretching the length of the breath so the spine is reaching up and forward. There's a subtle activation of lifting ribs and then pulling shoulders back. As you gradually start to come back up, you're leaning out onto your left hand. Keep the heels where they are, right hand sweeps around, and pivot back around to the top edge of your mat. I'm going to pause here, leaning subtly forward, and we're keeping the hands upright. So left hand's in front of your right knee, right hand can be up to the side, and you're working your heart towards your left wrist. Coming down in that direction, even if it's a subtle down. And then all we're doing is coming right back up. We're going to pivot again, coming around, reset the legs. So this is working that rotation of the hip socket. If you find yourself shifting a little, just do the micro adjustment. Right hand in front of your left knee, left hand to the side, nice and tall with the spine. Breath in, lowering exhale. Just like our breath work of left to right side, we're balancing the left to right side. Come back up, pivot around. One more on each side. Left hand in front, take a breath, lower subtly, back up, Pivot around. Take a breath. Lower. Now as we pivot around, we're facing the long edge of our mat. Bring your knees and feet together and just give yourself a squeeze here. I'm just going to turn around. So you're facing the long edge of your mat. You can wrap the forearms, curl your chin into your chest. Take a deep breath so you're filling your back with oxygen. As you exhale, pull your navel to your spine. Maybe walk your arms a little further around your shins or your knees. One more full breath here. And then release your hands behind you. Left leg out in front, right foot on top, and we'll walk the right foot across to the far edge. So we're taking a position of Gomukhasana legs, so getting more into that outer hip. Knee on knee, you can stay here. Option to bring your knees towards each other and bring that left foot beside your right hip. So if that's a lot on the knees, one leg in front, one leg by the side. Fingertips by your sides, close your eyes, soothing breath in. Hinging forward as you breathe out. Now these first 3-4 breaths, think of length. Get as long and tall as you can, and you hinge subtly forward in the direction of your knees. Reconnect with the intention you've set. For the next 3 to 4 breaths, you might bring the hands around in front of you, grounding energy to the palms to the earth, and then letting the heart melt and letting there be a rounding to your mid-lower back. And perhaps resting the forehead or your chin on the knees. If it feels okay and the head isn't connected anywhere, that's okay. If it doesn't feel good in your head or neck, you can bring your hands up to the knees to give a greater height connection. So you can make fists with the knees. Fists with the hands on the knees. Couple more breaths. And walking the hands back up underneath. Reach back behind, whether one leg or both, you're stretching them out in front. Give them a little tap out. And for the other side, left foot on top. Starting like a twist, but we're walking that left foot way across towards the right side. Option to stay right here. Option to tuck that right foot by your left hip. Think the knees are hugging into each other, the fingertips lengthening your spine. And the first 3-4 breath is tall and hinge. This may feel more into the back of the hamstring of the bottom leg if it's extended. You might feel it into the mid-lower back if both feet are tucked. Know that every reaching breath, gaining more space for our physical, mental body. Gradually, as you feel the release, bring the hands around and let the whole spine roll out. So full length, curling in, maybe the lips, the chin, or the forehead. Connect to that knee in front. If you want to use the hands to support the head, you can. Otherwise, hands just there to stabilize on either side of the knees. Start to walk your hands back up underneath, gradually leaning back. Both legs out in front, little tap out. Now here's where you'll grab your block or your blanket. You'll turn to the top of your mat and you can create a roll with your blanket or your pillow or cushion so that your whole spine is lifted. And if it's okay for your head to hang off the top, you can let it, but I do prefer, I know for myself, to have the head supported, but we'll keep the hips on the floor. As you roll back, let your head be supported, let your heart be lifted, and then bring your wings wide, elbows touch first to the floor, and then the backs of the hands reach towards the floor. Keep the hands quite high by the ears, by the head. And then opening the wings if you have some space to the left and to the right. Now here's where you have options with the legs. Knees can come to touch, toes turn in, or feet together, knees wide to the sides. Now all we're focusing on here is a 4-part inhalation. So it's as if you're taking a little staccato breath, like in music it's very short, 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 and then hold, and then a steady exhalation. So we breathe into the upper, the middle, the lower, and then the rest. Exhale fully through the nose. Breathe into the upper, the middle, the lower, and fill the rest. And then let it go. Fill the upper, middle, lower, the rest, and let it go. 3 more like that, your own rhythm, your own pace. In, 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 in. Exhale. And the last one, let your jaw relax. Maybe turn it left and right, open and close. Crank up your face tight and then open it wide. And then just let it all soften here for a moment. Reconnect to the intention you set. To the hope, the faith, the peace, that ease that albatross shows as it glides effortlessly over the sea, but knowing full well that there is an effort involved, whether mind, body, or spirit. There's an energy within. Letting your heart soar here. Gradually start to bring your hands in towards your ears. You might just touch them and bring your elbows to the sky. And bring your hands in front of your face, your palms together, and rub your hands, creating some heat in your palms, a little bit of fire, just a little energy. And then as you pause, place the hands over your eyes, like your little cups in the darkness, letting it settle. Perhaps seeing little glimpses of light that was previously there, little spots. Notice the color you see. These colors are often symbolic of our energetic chakra bodies. You might see a blue or a red or a pink or a fuchsia, a yellow or a green. Release the hands from your face and roll off of your props just to one side. Slide them out from underneath so that your mat is free. And you'll roll all the way up back to a seat facing the short edge of the top of your mat, but your feet to the outer edges. With your hands around behind, we did a lot of work to open our hips. Let's use that to take a final twist here as our knees float to the right. Bring your left hand around, like a reverse twist. Instead of lying down, we're going to come towards our belly. So our hands are out in front like chaturanga. We reach forward. And you can lower a lot or a little. You might kiss the floor with your cheek or your nose or your forehead. And then back up on the inhale. Left hand guides you around. Knees hover across to the left side. Left hand behind you. Right hand across. Comes around. And then as you lower, take your right cheek towards the floor. Up. If it's too much to turn the head, just keep the forehead at neutral and bring it down. So we'll switch to the other side. What I often feel here is a release in the lower back and the middle back as we're releasing the hips, or have been releasing our hips. We're also releasing that mid-body. Let's do 2 more on each side. You can close your eyes. Let it be a feeling of rotation rather than need to get it right. And the last one, back to center, roll the spine to the earth, bring the knees into the chest, swing your feet left, right, which will bring the knees left, right. Float your feet to the sky into waterfall position. Now you do have the option here for waterfall. If you practice shoulder stand, you're welcome to take it. If it's not familiar to you, I'd suggest just staying in waterfall. You can support your hips either with your hands or a block or a cushion. You can feel really good here. We're going to be here about 2 minutes. And if you're going to shoulder stand, your feet come over your head, hands support your tail. You go to plow, tuck the shoulders, the elbows, feet to the sky. If it's not something you've done before, be really careful of your neck. Sometimes best to avoid. Sometimes feels really good on releasing your neck and shoulders. Coming out of that pose when you're ready, you'll slide back down to waterfall. If you're in waterfall, let your legs hover with just enough energy, like the albatross gliding over the ocean sea. Sighing away any tension. Perhaps noticing the thoughts in your mind floating through like the clouds in the sky, drifting in and drifting out. If you're in shoulder stand, you'll come down to meet us in waterfall. If you're in waterfall, you can stay a little longer if you like, otherwise knees towards the chest, feet flat to the floor. Option to keep the knees together, feet flat, or stretch the legs long to final rest. Return in your mind's eye to that Chandra Vedana, Chandra breath. Left in, right out. Even without your hand, you'll feel the inhale, left, the exhale, right. Bringing that soothing, cooling element to release into here. Albatross glides to you upon the ocean breeze, bringing renewed hope and the promise of good fortune for the path ahead. It takes courage to set out on a journey of any kind, and Albatross knows that sometimes we must travel far beyond the shores of our comfort zone before we catch a glimpse of our aspired destination. When the nights are long and dark, when the wind appears to push against your passage, it can be easy to question the calling that brought you to this path in the first place. It is in these times when our doubt is most justified that we are called to keep our faith and courage alive and honor ourselves for the sacred nature of our journey. Albatross's message is to look beyond the wave of current circumstance and smile at the light that is emerging on the horizon. If your current life is stretching you to reach to new horizons, inside yourself or in the world, Albatross comes to encourage you to make the leap and trust yourself in the secret winds that guide you. There is no need to flap your wings and fight against the storm. Breathe deep instead and rise above. You were designed for this great journey. You are wiser than you know, and you are honored by the spirit of the sky. There is no hurry, there is no pressure, there is no wrong way to go. Trust with courage your deeper calling. Embrace the vistas of the new day before you, and know that your path is unfolding in just the right way. The journey will take as long as it takes, and when you arrive to the distant shores of who you are becoming, you will recognize the magic perfection of each and every moment, sunrise, raindrop, and breath along the way. Your mantra from Albatross is, I trust the calling of my spirit and soar beyond what once seemed possible. My life is a great and epic journey. I am faith in motion. Staying here as long as you need, perhaps quietly departing when you feel time is here. Otherwise, returning gradually to the physical element of your body, the skin, the muscle, the bones. Rolling to your right side. Gradually gathering yourself and rising back to a tall seated position. Where your palms greet one another, let your head meet your heart. And so bowing in as an honoring of self on the deepest level. And bow to your light. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me this evening, or thanks, Lonnie.